We are continuing on with our Menopause Playbook Mental Skills Matter series. Today we're diving into something really important, a really important aspect of thriving through menopause, and that is resilience. Building resilience. So, what is resilience? Well, it's our ability to bounce back in the face of stress and adversity. It's our ability to learn and to grow and advance and actually thrive because of the stress and adversity that we've been through. And anybody who's there can tell you that our perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause journey can challenge anyone's resilience. So, over the next few weeks, we're going to stock our toolbox with strategies, attitudes, and practical steps that will really help us nurture our resilience. So, this week, we're going to look at embracing change and how we can do that. Before we go there, my name is Nancy Brooker. I'm the Living in Yes coach for women who are navigating the challenges of menopause. It's a time of massive change in our lives. But we really all deserve to feel empowered when it comes to our health, our bodies, our goals, our relationships, and to really love who we're becoming. So I help you tap into your inner strength, let go of your self-judgment, and trust yourself so that you can navigate menopause with confidence and grace, feel good in your body, and find fulfillment in your unique journey through menopause. So let's talk about embracing change. So menopause can bring with it, this wave of changes, both physical and emotional. And embracing these changes, really, it's not just a necessity, but it's an opportunity for personal growth, a chance to redefine, a chance to rediscover who we are. And really, isn't that what this time in our life is all about? Is that rediscovery and redefining ourselves, figuring out who we really are inside as we transition through this time. We've been adapting since the caveman days, as a human race. And this isn't a process that's ever going to stop. So, because it's what allows us to adapt and learn and ultimately thrive. So, here's some practical things that we can do to help build that resilience. So, number one is really acknowledging and accepting that change is going to happen. It's an inherent part of life, and it's really about acknowledging, this is a thing. Change happens, and really looking for the opportunities and the doors that are opening for us rather than focusing on what doors are closing. So what would be a practical everyday example of how you could do this? Well, you could start a daily reflection practice. You could set aside a few minutes every day where you just write down one or two specific things that changes that you notice, whether they're physical or emotional or situational. And when you really think about it, they're not all going to be negative. There are going to be a few bright lights in there as well. But it's important because we have to really acknowledge what's happening in our lives, practice some mindfulness, some self-awareness, really foster a deep acceptance of this evolving nature of this time in our life. So, in a session, what we might use is EFT, emotional freedom techniques, tapping to help us acknowledge and accept what's going on in our lives, not in a way to try and, say, well, that's it, I'm done, there's nothing else I can do. It's more because when these changes are happening, our bodies are so full of stress that it's very difficult to really see the opportunity ahead of us, to really take the steps that we need to take. And so we use the tapping to calm the stress response in our body when we're thinking about these things, so that we can think clearly and take those little steps that we need to take to move forward towards our goals, towards the change that we really want. So number one is acknowledging and accepting. Number two is cultivating adaptability and being open to new approaches and new perspectives. So being flexible, we know, empowers us. Just think of, if you are trying to stand rigid and straight and tall, you will be really easy to knock over. Whereas if you're a little bit more relaxed and flexible, you can kind of move with whatever's going on. You can be adaptable. So it's really important to cultivate this adaptability. So how do we do that? Well, There's a few actually things we can do. Even something as simple as trying a new physical activity. So maybe you like to walk, and that is fantastic. Maybe think about doing a little bit of gentle stretching too. And I know it sounds weird, but it's actually allowing you to adapt to something new, adapt to something different. So it's nurturing both your body and your adaptability. Maybe you want to experiment with a new hobby or a new skill, something you've always wanted to try, or maybe you want to learn to paint or play a musical instrument or whatever that is. As we're learning and challenging our mind and body, we're challenging our adaptability through that learning process. So, that's another great little way to get things moving. Remember, this is a journey of discovery, not perfection. So we don't have to do everything perfect. We just have to try and do something. And the third thing that I want to say is that we should really set realistic expectations. And this is so easy to say and so, I think, difficult for almost everyone to do. But we understanding that change is a process, and setting realistic expectations for ourselves and celebrating those small victories and wins is what really sets the stage for success. So how can we do that? How can we set realistic expectations? Well, often, we think of what we want and we make it this, I talk about this all the time. We make it this huge thing that's like, an elephant. It's so big, we don't even know where to start. And what we need to do is chunk it down into little pieces, right? Mini milestones. So making ourselves maybe like a mini milestone list of things that are not overwhelming, that move us towards where we want to be, but they're smaller and more achievable. So then, we can start to celebrate our successes. We can feel like we're moving in the right direction. So, for example, if sleep is something that's challenging for you, rather than saying, well, I'm only getting 5 hours a night, I'm going to get 8 hours a night of sleep. Maybe your first step is to just start with 10 minutes. How can I get 10 more minutes of sleep? And then how can I build on that? And then how can I build on that? Just that little bit. And you'll start to feel better, obviously, if you're sleeping more. But you'll start to feel more successful and more motivated, which will actually then, an object in motion stays in motion. You'll stay more motivated to keep going. So, and celebrating every little victory towards your larger goal. So the bottom line, life shifts and so can you. Menopause is a groove, not a grind. And building resilience is a process, and every step that you take towards it is going to be a win. So embrace change by acknowledging and accepting that it's going to happen, but you have control over where you go with it. And cultivate your adaptability, and then set realistic expectations for what you want to achieve. Remember, you can shape your journey through menopause with confidence. And if you need some help implementing your menopause playbook, let's get started with your menopause vision statement. What's next for this part of your life? Where do you want to go, and how can we turn that into reality for you? Schedule your free consult today. I'd love to leave you with this quote. The oak fought the wind and was broken. The willow bent when it had to, and it survived. So hopefully we can cultivate our adaptability just like a willow. So thank you for listening. I hope this was helpful for you. I'd love to hear from you. If you have any questions on your menopause journey, let's chat. Please subscribe to this channel. Join me over on Facebook at Living in Yes. Come visit me on www.nancybrooker.ca. Talk to you soon. Bye now.